Dajahao, Niman Hauma. Hi everyone, my name is Imran Naufal, and today I'll be sharing my cultural reflection based on a powerful live performance I attended titled If There Is an Afterlife. I hope it's your version instead of mine. Before I take you through my reflections, let me first walk you through the objective of these presentations. The main aim is to understand how family and community role differ across cultures when facing terminal illness. I also personally wanted to reflect on how our Malaysian multicultural background shapes our reactions during emotional difficult times, especially grief. If there is an afterlife, I hope it's your version instead of mine. The performance brought together two powerful and emotional stories. One from a Chinese family coping with their mother's terminal cancer diagnosis, and another from a Malay girl named Sophia who had lost her mother to the same illness. Even though they came from different cultural backgrounds, but both stories were deeply connected by shared emotions, grief, love, and the fear of losing someone, not just once but forever. As an audience member, I didn't expect it to be so emotionally affected. What started out as just another assignment for class turned into one of the most meaningful experiences I've ever had. Thank you, Dr. Sham. It made me think about how fragile life is and how our own cultural upbringing influences the way we deal grief and losses. Through this, I have learned that culture doesn't take away pain, but it does shapes how we carry it. Let's move on. Now I would like to explain how the concept of individualism versus collectivism, one of Hofstad's cultural dimensions, was reflected in this performance. First, the Chinese family in the story clearly shows collectivist values. Ryan, Vanessa, and their mother did not deal with the illness separately. Instead, they face it together as a family unit. They share responsibilities, make group decisions, and support each other emotionally. Even though they didn't always express their feelings out loud, this reflects how collectivist cultures value family harmony, unity, and emotional self-control. On the other hand, Sophia's story represents individualism. She spoke openly how she processed her grief alone. Her healing journey was more personal, and it involved internal reflections rather than group support. She showed more comfort in expressing her own thoughts and emotions directly. This difference does not mean one culture is better than another. It just shows how deeply our cultural values influence the way we handle emotional experience like loss. Second, now let's take a look at Hofstad's cultural dimension of uncertainty avoidance. In the performance, the Chinese family clearly demonstrated a high level of uncertainty avoidance. They rarely mention that directly. Instead, they use careful wording, silence, or metaphors. This reflects as cultural tendency to avoid uncomfortable or emotionally heavy topics like dying. On the other hand, Sophia expressed her grief more openly. She talked in detail about her mother's final moments, including the hospital visits and her emotional numbness afterward. This shows a lower level of uncertainty avoidance, where individual is more comfortable facing emotional realities head-on. Last but not least, Trompena's dimensions of neutral versus emotional were shown in the performance. The Chinese family in the play represented a neutral culture. Even during painful moments, their emotions were very controlled. They didn't cry openly, but instead show love and support through small, subtle actions. In this culture, emotional control is seen as a sign of strength and respect. In contrast, Sophia expressed her emotions more openly. She cried, her voice trembled, and her body language clearly showed her sadness. This reflects an emotional culture where it is normal and encouraged to express feelings directly. From this, I realized that different culture teach us different way of handling emotions, especially during hard times like grief. Both styles are valid and they reflect how people are taught to process their own pain in their cultural ways. Now, let's proceed to the key takeaways from this assignment. Firstly, I learned that culture plays a major role in how people express and cope with the grief. It influences not only what we feel, but also how we show those feelings. From the performance, we could clearly see that the Chinese family reflected collectivist values, where family, unity, and shared emotional support were important. They also show neutral emotion expression and had a high uncertainty avoidance, where that was not mentioned directly. On the other hand, our Sophia represented a more individualistic perspective. She processed grief on her own and wasn't afraid to speak openly about her loss. Her style showed emotional openness and low uncertainty avoidance, where she was more comfortable facing hard, bitter truths. Both sides dealt with the same pain of losing a mother, but in a very different ways shaped by their culture. This made me realize that grief may look different across cultures, but love, pain, and loss are universal. To conclude, attending the performance If There Is an Afterlife, I Hope Is Your Version Instead of Mine was much more than just completing an assignment. It became a deeply personal and emotional experience that made me reflect on life, death, and how culture shapes the way we face both. By applying Hofstede's entrepreneurs, cultural dimensions, I do learn how different cultural backgrounds influence the way people grieve. Some cultures express grief quietly and unity, while others allow more open and personal emotional expressions. This experience helped me understand that there's no one correct way to deal with loss. Every culture gives people a way to carry their pain, whether through silence, support, storytelling, or tears. Most importantly, I was reminded that at the core, we are all human. We all love, we all lose, and we all grieve in our own way, shaped by the values we grow up with. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Prepared by Muhammad Imran Naufal bin Muhammad SAHIB and prepare for Dr. SHAMSUL. I hope everyone have a good day. Rest well. Adios.